Hello to all the educators out there. I just wanted to make a quick video to show you some Google Classroom best practices. These best practices will be used to ensure that your Google Classroom is user-friendly for all of the students that will have to access it. So let's just go ahead and get started. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is walk you through the settings that you should have turned on in order to make the best experience for our students. So I'm going to go up to the top right corner of the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this cog, which is the settings icon. And then obviously you should have this information filled in already. If not, this is probably going to be a really important step that you need to take. So once you have filled in all the necessary class details, the next section that we're going to focus on is the general section. The bulk of the settings that we're going to be adjusting will reside in this general section. The first part of the general settings is going to be the invite codes. You can toggle them on or off. If you have the invite codes turned to on, you will be able to have a class code generated to give to any new students. If you have accepted all of your students, you can toggle it to off. The next setting that we're going to focus on is the stream. So with this particular setting, I always turn this setting to students can only comment. I find that if you give the students the opportunity to post and comment, meaning that the students can create their own posts, it will kind of clutter up your stream. So in order to avoid that from happening, I turn it on so that way the students can make comments on posts that I have put in the stream, but they cannot create their own post. So if they have a question to something that I've posted, they can ask the question, but they cannot create their own post. And that's just, again, to make sure that your Google Classroom isn't cluttered on the stream. Another thing that we're going to focus on is where it says classwork on the stream. Let me show you what that looks like. So right now it's set to have condensed notifications, and this seems to be okay. It seems very organized, but when you are posting materials and assignments on Google Classroom every day, every week, this is going to clutter your stream. And so it's going to make it more difficult for your students to find important announcements that you may post on the stream. So what we're going to do is go back to our settings. And where it says classwork on the stream, I'm going to change that to hide notifications. The next best practice that I'm going to share with you all is that you should be using Guardian Summaries. You're going to want to make sure that this feature is turned on because it takes the guesswork out of what actually took place in your class for that week. Let me give you some more information. The great thing about Guardian Summaries is that you don't have to do very much of anything. All you have to do is make sure that Guardian Summaries is turned on in your Google Classroom. When you turn on the Guardian Summaries feature, what's going to happen is that Google will automatically send all of your parents and guardians an email on a weekly basis that includes relevant information for your class. It will let the parent know if their child is missing any assignments. It will let them know any upcoming assignments that you may have already posted. It will also share with them any announcements or questions that you posted in the stream. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this feature on. So if you teach multiple classes, you can go ahead and make sure that this box is checked. This will ensure that all of your classes that you are teaching has Guardian email summaries turned on. The next thing that you're going to want to play around with is this Google Meet link. So if you're using Google Meet for your class, you can go ahead and generate the Meet link. Now that's turned on, and then you can choose whether or not you want this visible to students. So if you want to make sure that your students do not have access to Meet when you are unavailable to meet with them, you're going to want to make sure that you have that turned off. But in the event that you're going to be using Google Meet, you're going to want to have that turned on. When you have the Google Meet link turned on, what happens is that it appears in your banner. Another best practice that I would like to share with you all is using the reuse post feature of Google Classroom. You can use the reuse post feature not only for your stream, but you can also use it for the classwork tab, and I'm going to show you how to use it for both. So let's say that I typed a message in one class but forgot to include another class in that message. I can go ahead and click reuse post. And then I can choose which post I want to reuse. In case it is not this class that I want to choose the post from, I can click this back button in order to see all of the different classes that I teach. That way I can choose the right post. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this post, and then I'm going to click reuse. It pops up with the post, and then what I can do is choose all the different classes that I want this post to go to. So once I'm done with that, once I've chosen which classes I want to receive this post, I am going to click post. Another thing that you could do is click on the drop down arrow, and then you could schedule it to post at a later date and time. So I'm gonna click post, and there you have it. So now my stream is only inclusive of important announcements that I want my students to see as soon as they log into my class. Let's go ahead and move on to classwork. This is probably the most important thing that you can do to ensure that your Google Classroom is user-friendly for all of your students. You need to utilize topics as a way to label and organize all of your assignments. I've already started that process, so let me just kind of go through this with you. The first thing I did was created a topic that's called resources. In that resources tab, I've included a few things that are going to be extremely important for the students to have on a regular basis. So in those resources, I have the syllabus, my class website, and then I also have the daily Zoom link that we would use every single day. And so if you want to make sure that students have this information, I would suggest you can move this topic up to the top, and that way your students will always be able to find the Zoom link every single day. You won't have students emailing you or asking you in the stream, where is the Zoom link? So that would be my first suggestion. One suggestion to organize your Google Classroom is to have all of your assignments labeled in chronological order. And an example of that is what you see on my screen, where it says second quarter week of November 16th to November 20th. So all of my assignments for that week will appear under that label. I will create another topic just so you can get an idea. So I'm also going to continue with that same trend. So now I have another topic. Again, I'm going to make sure that my resources always stays at the top. So now what I'm going to do, I want to create an assignment, and I want to put it under the week of November 16th. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to create. I'm going to create an assignment. It's fake. So let's say that I want to attach something. Let's say I want to attach this document right here. I'm going to insert it. And then what I could do from here is change it so that I'm going to make a copy for each student. If you have a Google Doc that you want your students to be able to edit or type into, it is very important that you make sure that you have make a copy selected. If you have the option for students can edit the file, that means that everybody in that class can edit that file. So if you have a document that you want your students to be able to manipulate, it is very important that you have make a copy for each student selected. The next thing that I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to make sure that I have the point value listed. I have a due date selected. So this is for November 16th. So I'm gonna make sure that this is due on November 20th. And then right here is going to be the most important part of making sure that your assignment is organized correctly. So I'm going to make sure that I choose the topic where I put second quarter week of November 16th through November 20th, and I'm going to choose that. The last thing I'm going to do is click assign. Let's say now I want to create another assignment, but I already created it and posted it in another class. So that is super easy for us to copy into this classroom that we're working in right now. So I'm going to click the create button again. I'm going to select reuse post instead. So I'm going to click reuse post, and it already has the last class that I've reused something from. But again, if I don't want to use this particular class, I can click back, this little back arrow, and it's going to take me to all the different classes that I could choose from. So let's say I'm going to choose this assignment right here. And then I'm going to click where it says create new copies of all attachments. So I'm going to click that. And then I'm going to click reuse. It says make a copy for each student, but I'm just going to verify that this information is selected. I may need to change a couple of things here. Like it says May 28th and we're in November, so I could say November. Let's say November 18th. And then I already have the point selected. I need to choose a due date. I can choose a time. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to change the topic. And again, I'm choosing this same topic that we've been working on. And then here's another added bonus feature that you could use. You have the ability per Google Classroom that you teach is to have this option turned on for an assignment. I believe you get up to 3 different assignments, but you can choose to have Google check the work for plagiarism. So that means that when the student goes in to start typing in their information, they have the ability before they hit turn in, Google will check their work and tell them if they plagiarize their work or not and give them the opportunity to fix it. And then once they submit it, as a teacher, you can see all of the instances in which a student has plagiarized their work and where it was plagiarized from, like the source material. So once I do that, I'm going to click assign. Again, you have the option, just like with the stream, you can either assign it, you can schedule it so that it posts at a later date, or you can save it to post at another time. But I'm going to go ahead and click assign. And again, so now I have these assignments posted here. Another best practice that I want to share with you is making sure that when you want to attach a link, so let's say I'm going to make a new assignment. What I could do here is if I had a link to a YouTube video, I could go ahead and attach it there. But that's going to make a very unpleasant experience for your students. It is not aesthetically pleasing to see the link to something in the instructions. Instead, use your instructions for simply that, directions. And then if you want to add a link, you're going to go ahead and add the link here. Or in my case, I said I wanted to add a YouTube video. It gives you the option to be able to search for a video that you want your students to take notes on. And then I choose a video, I click add, there's the video. It's right there attached to it. And let's say that I'm going to move this into the next week. So I'm gonna choose a different quarter, and then I'm gonna put that this is due on the 27th. Again, I'm gonna choose a time for it to end as well. And then again, if I want to post this assignment to multiple classes, where it says 4, I can go ahead and click this drop down menu and I can select all the different classes that I want to receive this particular post or this particular assignment. Being able to assign the work to multiple classes at once will reduce the time it takes for you to set your classes up. But I'm going to go ahead and click assign. This is definitely going to improve the experience that a student has when they're in your Google Classroom. Sometimes the reason why some students can't complete the work is because they're having a hard time finding the assignments that they need to complete. Another suggestion that I would have that I did not necessarily mention is that for each quarter, if you're not going to use this format, a weekly format for your topics, it is really important that you number your assignments. So let's say I have 5 assignments listed for this week. I would just go in and make sure that I edit these assignments so that they have a number associated with them. So this may be 001. And that way the students can keep track of how many assignments that they have for that particular topic or label or however it is that you're organizing your Google Classroom. If your Google Classroom topics are by units instead of by weeks, my suggestion is going to be that you go in and number every assignment that you're posting for that particular unit. That way students can keep track of what assignments are due, what assignments they're missing, and what have you. Well, that's going to conclude today's video of the Google Classroom best practices that will create a better experience for your students. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And until next time, have a great day.